What's up, Steven? Martha, Ian, welcome to everybody on YouTube that are slowly coming in. Mark, so Burton, Terry, Scary, Terry and Scary, Patrick, how are you? Tiki Toki. Welcome, everybody. Simulation Talk 144. Slowly counting them up, coming from X, Dub. Yeah, that's the main topic, isn't it? Casey, how are you, brother? Let's get serious. Hey, bro, how you coming up? Wait, how you coming up always at interesting times? I mean, I'm happy that I'm always coming up at interesting times. Wait, oh, it gives me to respond. That's so cool. That's new. I've never seen that before. Maybe it was always there and I just didn't know. Amelia, sorry. 2 thumbs. Van Dweller, how are you, brother? Good to see you. Casey's coming up. How you doing, man?
Oh, did I make it in? Yeah, man. I'm going to mute it while I do my thing. I'll be right back.
Casey's doing experiments live.
Okay. I have a new paper system for covering magnets, so I'll give a really clear picture.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because we haven't been really talking about it the other nights. You were just kind of doing it, but we weren't saying anything about it. Concrete Man, how are you? Casey is the man, Van Dweller said on YouTube. Where's my accent from? Not sure. It's kind of all over the place. I was born in Russia. I lived in Israel for a while. And then I lived in the Midwest in Indiana. And then I lived in LA since 2010, I think. So, not sure. It's kind of all over the place, I guess. How are you, Amelia? Am I pronouncing it correctly? Is that Amelia instead of Amalia? Or is that how you spell Amalia and I'm just dyslexic as always? Keme! Nice. Welcome, everybody, Simulation Talk 144, where we talk all things simulation. My name is Danny, and I'm claiming to have found actual proof that we live in a simulation. Medicine from Orange County. Oh, cool. Welcome, Keith. And the channel where people live doing experiments with the spirit molecule. We're now experimenting with magnets, which is a very fun experiment in which you're projecting the laser on the surface of a magnet and you're putting it behind a paper. Van Dweller on YouTube has also run the experiment and said that it worked. I had a couple more people trying it out. I saw that it works. Excuse me. And now in the process of putting it through. Good to see you too, Amelia. But you have to tell me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly because it bothers me. Okay. Van Dweller did. Did you run it since, by the way, Van Dweller? John is in the house. Okay. Aaron the Wizard said hello. How are you? Have you decoded any of it? No. I think decoding it is a whole other story. Eventually, obviously, we're going to keep trying doing it. I have some people who are trying to give it a stab. I think it's going to be a lot more complicated than just remembering any sequences or anything like this. I think it has to do a lot more with the operations that it runs and understanding the logic of how it works. And let's not forget that a lot of scientists are now basically trying to explain it away in a lot of different ways, which, thank you, Julie. Oh my God. Good to have you, and thank you for the rose. I appreciate you. It's completely understandable, of course, because it is important to put the experiment through the ringer. And I'm happy that the right kind of attention is on it because we need to figure it out. There's something there that is very important, or at least I claim. I got stronger magnets the other day, and we'll try tomorrow. said Van Dweller. Thank you so much for letting me know. I would love if you filmed this, brother. That would be so useful. So anybody who doesn't know, a few years ago, I discovered that if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you project a magnet, and you don't project a magnet, but that would be cool. And you project a diffracted laser and you ingest the spirit molecule, you will see code running in the surfaces. And since then, I've been talking about this live, and places. Shai, how are you? And it has been picking up pace. A lot of people are talking about it, including Joe Rogan, that was asking Rick Strassman about it. A lot of channels are now starting to kind of talk about it as a phenomena. It is interesting because a lot of people are talking about it without ever trying it, which again, it's not for everybody. So it's not like I'm saying everybody needs to do it, but it is time to start putting it through some serious tests, and that's what we're going to be doing very soon. We meet here every day, or almost every day at this point, to discuss the phenomena, the experiments, for me to answer certain questions, as well as talking about all kinds of subjects like science at large, philosophy, religion, spirituality, God, whatever comes to mind, we talk about it. If it feels good, we talk about it. Do you have to refract the laser through something, or can you shine a laser directly onto a wall? Great question. A laser pointer will not work, which is an interesting data point. It has to be diffracted, not refracted. I did say refracted in my first video, and that was a mistake that I made, but it is diffraction, not refraction, that is required. But you don't need to worry about it. You can just get a laser that already comes with a diffracted pattern lens, and that is pretty cheap on Amazon. I mean, you can always get it from our website through the links that we have there, which is codeofreality.com. But you are not under, there's nothing special about the lasers that we put the link there or the ones that we sell, aside from the fact that we put a lot of love into it and we package it in a particular way that makes it easier to carry around. But again, if your goal is to save money, definitely don't worry about getting our laser. It's more that you're helping the project. You can get these lasers very cheap. You just, for the most part, you're probably going to have to connect them yourself to like a on-off switch and a battery house. But these things are very easy to do. You don't even need to solder. Most of them come with, you just, you strip the wire, you connect them together, you put a heat shrink, which is like this little sleeve that you just heat it up with a flame, and so like with a lighter, and it would just shrink and you're good to go. So it should be pretty straightforward. If you don't want to deal with any of it, and $150 is not something that is a lot for you, please, by all means, receive it with gratitude. We will ship you one with a beautiful package, with a personalized message to you, and you'll be helping the project. But again, if the money is an object, then definitely just go to Alibaba and just go to the website codeofreality.com, copy what we have there as far as the parts, and then go and source it from anywhere you would like. You can get it for pretty cheap. You don't need to worry about finding a diffracting lens or anything like this. They already come sold with that. Does Joe Rogan help the cause? What do you mean? Like, is Joe getting involved? Is that your question, Shai? Neodymium magnets? No, you can use any regular magnet. I always have one around. I don't have one around right now. I don't know why I don't have one around. I just saw it. Oh, here it is hiding. So any horseshoe magnet would work. This one is just a regular one from Amazon. 10 pounds. So like can lift 10 pounds. You can get it stronger, but you don't really need a neodymium magnets. Those are very powerful. I think you can use them, of course, but I think even simple like these would work. And you will notice that they create some kind of a disturbance in the code that nothing else does. And if you put it behind a paper, if you see the actual scrambling of the code through the paper, well, it tells you there's some kind of a thing happening. Thank you, Julie, for the rose. I appreciate you. Again, the website is codeofreality.com. Codeofreality.com. And how are you, Narek? So Shai is asking if Joe Rogan is getting involved. Not as far as I know at the moment, but eventually I believe he might show some interest. Who knows? I'm obviously not speaking for Joe, but and I'm pretty sure that Joe will be interested to at least try it out at some point. I'm live. You just sent me an email. Wait, I can check. Let me pull it up this way. It's the beauty of having multiple screens. Dude, that's sick, Nico. Brainstorming for new figure 3 for the first protocol paper. Any of these 3 feel like a better fit? Well, yeah, I guess you can kind of. The thing is that I wish you would see it yourself so it'd be easier for you. It's just much busier. Like the first one, Nico, the one on the left, that's the closest one, but I think it's only because it's busier. So if you can maybe overlay, I don't know if you have Photoshop, I can do it obviously, but if you can overlay the most left one with some other one and create a like an overlay layer where it makes it busier, or maybe even use the same one and kind of stack them a little bit offset from one another. I can do it with Photoshop after I'm done with the live, but this can definitely be very helpful. It's funny, and Nico is helping me, helped me to arrange the information in the form of a paper that we actually submitted to a few places, and he's now helping me to arrange the information again to publish it in an actual. Well, it's like a newsletter / journal, physics journal. So we'll try and put it in there for records. I appreciate you, man. You've been tremendous help. One need to take a DRUG to see the code. Well, it's I feel like this question is a little bit too simplistic, Roxy, because I wouldn't call it a DRUG. It is something that your body makes it, right? So it's kind of hard to call it a DRUG. You have your lungs make it, your liver makes it. I think it's not as straightforward as saying that you need DRUG. Do the symbols look like any existing known language? No. Like, yes, it kind of looks like Japanese katakana and Hebrew, but not like any of these things. So I don't know if it's really helpful because people try to immediately decipher it in terms of these languages. And I had people try, and I go, I'm not saying it is that. I'm saying it kind of looks like that. So I don't think it's a language we understand or know. And also, it's not about the actual characters, I think, at the moment. It's more about the general behavior of the code and what it's doing and how we can potentially map the behavior to everything else that we understand about, the physical world. By the way, if you're on TikTok and you feel like you want to visit my YouTube channel, feel free to do so. It's Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts. And it gives, and I've also added a members program there, which gives access to early access to my new content. I have a new interview coming up very soon with Zoltan Bathory, and that's going to be available for members a few days before it drops. As it also includes Zoom calls with me, depending on the tier of the membership, either with a group or in private, and it helps me focus on this project full time. So I do appreciate all the members that already joined. We also have a couple of people that gifted a lot of membership. So I appreciate you, Ebony. I appreciate you, Ben. Thank you so much for supporting this channel so much. And yeah, I'm kind of blown away by the fact that so many people are contributing their time and also money to help the cause. So I appreciate you. And for example, people like Nico who's helping me with writing papers, and Laszlo who's helping me to build illustrations of the console and think about the potential software developments we can maybe do. We can maybe utilize with the knowledge that I'm receiving. So I think it's all the things I need to give. Thank you so much for everybody joining from TikTok, from X, from YouTube, and from Twitch. Do you have an email I can message you at examining the experiment tests? Yes, I can send you a message here. Yes, I think you can. Oh, wait, Ebony told me how to do this. Hold on, let me see if I can do this in real time. She showed me how to activate. You know what? That's fine. I'm not going to do it right now. My brain is... there's a way to allow for links and all of that, and I need to activate this. Is there a conference or something along those lines, gathering and talking about this? So I did one meetup, and I'll do more of them, and maybe I'll do a few all over the country. And we do have a retreat that we've done last year, and we're going to have another one next year. So if you're interested, you can always email me to lasersimulationx@gmail.com, lasersimulationx@gmail.com, and I'll put you on the mailing list to be notified about these events. Would love to see the illustration of the console. There's a video of that on my YouTube channel. It's called The Console. The YouTube channel is Dango Thoughts. You can just follow the link in my link tree on the TikTok page. And I'm working on a new one. It's going to have Laszlo is helping with a much more sophisticated animation of everything that's going on. Thank you for your question, Julie. Hey, Casey.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
About magnets. I have a circular magnet, and then I have a rectangular magnet.
Okay.
Where is the gray part, the darker part, is that the magnet itself? And then the silver part?
I don't know where the north and the whole thing is a magnet. I don't know where the north and the south pole are. The only way to know is to allow it to get close to another magnet.
Okay.
And then where they glue, the points where they attract through, these are the north and the south pole.
Okay, so I have two magnets, and there it goes. It's attached to the other magnet. So I want to, for the experiment, I want to make sure that which one's north, which one's south, basically.
It doesn't matter which one north is, which one south. What matters is that these are the polarities. So you always have two polarities. It's kind of like saying what is the positive, what is the negative. It's just the fact that they're opposite to one another. So wherever the magnets are attaching, you want to pull one of the magnets off and then project the light at the surface where the other magnet was trying to glue to. One of them. Yeah.
And stacking magnets, does that increase magnetic power or not?
No, because they're closing the torus. So if you're going to put them together, they create one giant magnet, and then they would still obviously have the north and the south pole together, like a combined one, but then you won't know where it is, especially if you don't have the same kind of shape of a magnet. The beauty of a horseshoe magnet is that even without using any other magnet, you know that the north and the south pole are always this and this.
Okay, cool. So yeah, this, because it's silver on that horseshoe magnet you have right there, is that just because they're polishing it, or
I think so, yeah. And this is why basically putting the paper is super useful, because you can tell if it's the surface or it's the fact that it's a magnet.
Okay, cool. All right, and then so on the circular magnet that's black, will that work?
I don't know.
Oh,
you're the first one trying it with that black magnet.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I don't think circular. I'll be back.
Okay.
Awesome.
Does the matrix give us stuff to see its code? Oh, or is it a natural reaction between similar codes of light? Scott said, I'm not sure, but it sounds like you're saying natural reaction between similar codes of light. But what are codes of light? I'm not really sure that that's an established thing, right? What does the magnet do? So the magnet seems to be scrambling the code. When you project the laser on the surface here, it seems to be scrambling the code. So one of the possibilities was obviously that maybe there's something about the surface that kind of bends light, just sends it in different directions because of the lines that maybe you can see. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, kind of visible. Wait, let me see. Yeah, like that right there. But if you put a paper on top of it, well, that's the whole thing. But if you put a paper like this, right, the magnet is here, and put it behind one paper, then that eliminates the possibility of it being the surface, because you can see the code in the paper for sure, right? So if you put the magnet behind the paper and all of a sudden where you're supposed to see the code, you see the scramble, then you know it's not just the surface, but the magnetism itself. We love indeed. Record the effect on video. I mean, you can record the laser on a video, but you won't be able to see anything until you smoke the molecule. Your body makes dopamine, etc. Every DRUG is releasing a DRUG you produce within, and it's still a DRUG. No, that is not true. There's a lot of substances I cannot mention because of TikTok, but there's a lot of things that are not natural to your body whatsoever. It is true that they are mimicking, they are activating functions within the brain that the brain itself is capable of doing. But I would say that I have a whole video called "Is the Spirit Molecule a DRUG?" So watch that one. That's essentially kind of like my breakdown of what it really is and why calling it DRUG, even though it's classified as one, is a little misleading. It's more of a technology than anything else, and it's not a metaphor to say that, I would say. You have to alter your brain with the molecule to make it visible. Literally just discovered this an hour ago, just like to catch alive. Awesome, Earl. Good to have you. Earl Goodwin. What if you get a giant laser, giant symbols? Well, that's the interesting part, that the size of the laser doesn't change the size of the symbols. That's one of the reasons we know that it's not in the light, but in the surface, because it's not really depending on the size of the light. What is interesting, it does sometimes change according to the curvature of the surface, which is weird because then you would expect it to also the code to change in size with the size of the light, but it doesn't. So like if you move the laser back, you still see the same characters of the same size, and when you move the light, these characters are still the same size, and they're not moving in relationship to the with the light. They're staying behind, so to speak, doing their own thing in the surface. Neuromodulator, exactly. Anyone who doesn't see the code. Some people takes them a little while to see the code. I don't know why that is yet, but in the end, it seems that everybody, as long as they're persistent with it, they see the code. And yes, Casey is definitely the man. I asked the police, Maverick Star said, I asked the police for the spirit molecule, and they said, sorry, we only deal with DRUGs, mischiefs, and traffic stops. If you want to try the guy in the park talking to squirrels. Yay, Lovey Whittles is in the house. I haven't seen you in a while. Gustavo is also here. Good to see you, brother. I need to work at CERN. I mean, that would be hilarious. I always laugh because eventually it seems like they're going to have to rerun a lot of the tests on the molecule, which is kind of funny. Probably not at CERN, because at CERN you don't actually observe any of the stuff. Well, really, all high-level science now, really, you don't really see anything with your eyes anyway. Not in cosmology, not at CERN. It's all instrumentation that then, moves a lot of data, and then that data is being interpreted by models, and really all you do is you stare at a computer screen. But we will definitely need to recreate the double slit experiment and actually observe it ourselves. Have I seen the Purple Lady? No, I've actually never met the Purple Lady, and I have thousands of visits under my belt, and I've never seen the Purple Lady. I've seen a lot of different beings, but not the Purple Lady. Do I hear sound when viewing the code? If you play a frequency, that's a great question, Earl. If you play a frequency, like, I don't even think the frequency matters, honestly. I think 42 hertz, 100 hertz, you will hear the space, it's interesting you asked that. Madeline Bish. William J. said, that's interesting. I wonder what you're referring to. More about the console in the new video is going to be coming out. Then said you can turn on a megahertz tone. Oh, there you go. Irv just answered for me. Thank you, brother. Irv is our laser guy, by the way. So everybody thank Irv for doing incredible work. He's also working very hard behind the scenes to help me arrange all the data in a way that I never would be able to. I am forever grateful to you, man. You're amazing. He's so good at this stuff, and at the same time, he's being super patient because it takes me a while to catch up with all the information, and he helps me kind of figure out what should be the next steps and how I should. Basically, he helps me arrange a lot of the information and the data, and I always feel like I'm behind, but I really appreciate everything you're doing, brother. Julie is saying, I have seen the code on a veil that was more prominent when I made subtle sounds. You're talking about with the laser or without the laser? Do I make music? No, I don't make music. I am claiming that I found proof that we live in a simulation. So it's a little different. Have you used mirrors with the laser? I don't know why everybody keeps asking this. It's so interesting. You'll just get a laser in your eye. Do not use a mirror, please. Bend through it. How are you, brother? Good to see you, Devin. I'm going to watch this stream tomorrow morning with a cup of coffee. Sleep time for me. Nice. Good night, brother. Big laser, bigger symbols? No. Bigger laser, same size symbols. So that's what I'm saying. It is not in the light. This chat is so helpful. Thank you guys for being cool. Thank you. Thank you for being cool, Earl. Appreciate you, man. Wait, cool guy 42. Irv, what do you mean by the symbols get bigger? When you pull the laser back? I've never seen that before. Is that what you saw? Start with SL. Start with SALVIA. Definitely don't start there. Definitely don't start there. That is not my cup of tea, man. And I don't think it's less than the spirit molecule. It's just a completely. I mean, it's just not fun, man. Would living in a simulation change our understanding of physics? Eventually, yes, but on the level that we tend to look for it, no, because it is rendering the laws of physics. But it will expand our understanding of what's possible, that's for sure. Has anyone else known about the previous discovery? Not as far as I know, no. And I don't think that the Wachowski brothers back then knew about the code. Sometimes I think that the truth speaks through creative people without the creative people being aware. I think that's what's going on. Magnet expert, he discovered the magnet. Fell off. Would you prefer that the tribe keeps learning at a smaller scale versus gaining traction, mainstream attention at this point before more is understood? I don't think it's up to me, Shy, especially at this point. I mean, I don't know how much time we have, to be honest. Something big is coming, and there's certain things that we need to understand. Methylene is saying she's new. Well, essentially, I discovered that if you projected a 650 nanometer diffracted laser on a surface and you ingest the spirit molecule, you will see code running behind the light. That's the gist of the discovery. And I mean, you can watch my videos on the topic. We're working on a movie that has a trailer. If you visit my YouTube channel, which is Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts, there's a lot of information there. That'll make it easier to catch up with this. That's a good comment, Scott. Scott is saying, sorry for my observational point is if we're in a hologram, the magnet and the lasers are produced by same hologram. Well, in this case, you have a slightly different situation than any other regular hologram, because if you are the hologram, you're not looking at the hologram, you are the hologram, which changes some things. That would include all the laws of physics. So the operational level of the hologram would include the rules of the operation of the world itself, which requires a little bit deeper analysis as to what would create potential perturbations that will allow you to see the source layer. So there's a lot that has to do with the technical side of it. It's definitely not something we'll be able to cover just on a live, but that's a good point. Any pole, positive or negative, of any magnet attracts or repels, considering what pole of other magnet is close to them. So any pole will do. Oh, you're just reacting to, yes. That was a reaction to Casey, I'm assuming. Does the magnet destroy the symbol or replace the symbols with other symbols? At the moment, distorts the symbols, but I believe that if we use a powerful enough of a magnet, it will replace either the symbols or the behavior of the code to some kind of a new phase shift, and we'll be able to see some kind of a new thing. That's one of my assumptions. I think every Kogan would call his DRUG a technology. It makes him sharp. No, it's not the same at all. It doesn't sound like you're very experienced with that. No offense, of course, Sharp. I'm just stating it like very, very dryly. It sounds like you don't really have a lot of experience with these things. Also, you're kind of negative. No offense, but you're kind of being negative for no reason. Then go thoughts and have your wrote down the code. The best experiment would everybody write down. Yeah, it's not that simple because there's so many different characters and they're running too fast. You won't be able to absorb the information in a way that is going to be coherent. Thank you, Diamond. I appreciate you. There's code in everything that we've definitely created. Yeah, it's too long of a rabbit hole to unpack, but the short answer is maybe locally, but not universally. No, you're not creating the code, you're co-creating it with something much larger than you, even larger than what you would consider the higher self. These are still very local arrangements. There are things that are much bigger than that, and they are, for all intents and purposes, not us. They are truly alien. Velociraptor saying he lived 300 meters from CERN in 2015. That's dope. The reason that sharp accidental, the spirit molecule can be considered an actual technology is because it literally takes your mind or your observational point, you can call it, to another place. And there's a lot that is actually known about the intricacies and the peculiarities of this particular substance. You can refer to Dr. Gallimor's work if you want to read Reality Switch Technologies. That would be a really good educational book for you. Hey, Casey, you wanted to say something, brother?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question. So, can you describe to me in detail what the scramble of the code appeared to you like?
Well, I mean, you just see that the code is no longer visible that easily. Like it kind of just like it just.
Like you erased the code completely, or just
Well, it's almost like it becomes. It's almost like if you see a reflection in the pond, and you would go like this, and it just like scrambles the reflection that you see.
Oh, that's what we're looking for? Okay.
Yeah.
So slow on these things sometimes. Right on. Back to work.
That's hilarious. Where is the most interesting place you have tried looking at the laser? Have you tried looking at the laser news? Yeah, I don't want to be the party pooper, but Narek, but I don't think it would change anything. I don't think the code is operating on a level where it would be influenced by the location or the sacredness of a place. Now, of course, I can be wrong, but my strong intuition that it's not going to make any difference. It seems to just be. It doesn't have any magical properties to it. Like it doesn't. It just looks like a super regular thing that you're looking at. It seems to be coding for something very fundamental, like either the laws of physics or space time or something that is very physical. Like it's not like a thing that is connected to your higher self or to your chakras or to your third eye. Like it doesn't have that kind of property. So something tells me very strongly that it makes no difference whatsoever where you're going to project it inside of a pyramid, in a sacred place. It will be always the same. That's my, again, we'll find out, right? Because eventually people are going to try this. And I'll be very happy to discover if that's wrong, because that will give us something to go by, because we'll finally be able to create some distinction between where the code changes. But it needs to be reliable. It cannot be kind of like, I think I'm seeing something. Like it can't be like this. It has to be very specific. The color of the laser does not matter. And in fact, some other colors like the blue and the green definitely produce extra content, but the code is the same. Casual travels to other dimensions. You have fans, Casey. Love the casual travel to other dimensions. I do too. Have you ever been gloved by entities? Gloved? As in they move your arms and legs without your consent. So they can entice it. Now, so you're talking about like forcefully, or you're talking about like gently? Velociraptor. I've seen code with my plain eye, no assistance. Yeah, Scott, that's the most common message I get. But usually when you drill down to it, it's actually not the same code. Oh, the symbols get bigger on their own over time. Yeah, it's almost like you notice larger structures. That is true. That is a weird phenomena. Have you had any lucid dreams or dreams related to what you've been seeing? No. I've had one dream where I had a full-on NN experience where I smoked in the dream and I went into like a full-on spirit molecule experience. That happened, but not in general. Excluding non-paying viewers is a bad move. Not excluding, just have to give something as a thank you to the people who believe enough in the project to put some of their money down. Considering the fact that my time at this point is basically non-existent throughout the day, taking an hour or 2 hours of my day is actually quite a bit for me because I have so many things to do. So if I'm taking the time to actually, jump on a Zoom call privately with people, this is a nice thank you to the people who put in some money into the project, which means they believe in what I do, and it definitely helps me. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. I need to be able to reciprocate in some form, and this is a really good way to do it. Otherwise, I simply wouldn't do it. Also, the fact is that $7 a month is really, I mean, yeah, for some people it's a lot, but for most people it isn't. And the fact is that I'm here also almost every single day. So that alone should tell you that I'm not putting anything behind paywalls. The same information is right here available. It's just an extra little touch that I give people that you put in the trust in my project. So I do not agree with you that it's a bad move. Oh yeah, and you also have the Discord, by the way, that you guys can always interact on there. How does one support the project? Well, there's quite a few ways. You can join the members program on YouTube, on Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts. You can contribute something to the documentary that we're working on. If you look at the trailer on YouTube, under the trailer, you have the link for our GoFundMe page, as well as actually on TikTok, you also have it on the in my link tree in my profile. You can find directly the GoFundMe page. That's another way you can contribute. Yeah, so it's most of these. But honestly, even if you don't spend a dime, just by the fact that you're here and you're part of the community, that also helps. Unfortunately, we still live in a world in which most things cost money. So I appreciate all the people that are putting in their hard-won money, but also appreciate the people that showing up here a lot. I have some viewers that have been with me since pretty much I started doing these lives. Now 144, actually more, like 160 days ago, because I had to skip a few days here and there. So yeah, honestly, the fact that you're showing up, that's already contributing quite a bit. Does the project accept Bitcoin? Yeah, I don't have it listed because it depends on what. In the Bitcoin world, it really matters. There's a lot of different chains that you can send things through. So if somebody is interested to contribute through Bitcoin, we can talk about exactly what wallet you want to use, and then I can definitely do that. No problem, of course. Thank you for the question. Yeah, magnifying glass definitely helps seeing it, Aaron. And haven't tried with a microscope yet, but the magnifying glass that definitely helps. What do you think the Matrix is? Do you think we put ourselves here? Are we slaves? No, not at all. We are not in prison. In fact, not like in the movie, we are not locked in any place. You are as free as you imagine, as you would imagine yourself to be in a what you would call a physical world, unless, of course, you would call yourself a slave to the laws of physics, which would be essentially the only form of slavery. But of course, it's silly to think this way. You are as free as what you decide to be in the moment. That's the truth. So it has no meaning whatsoever how your experience came about. Your freedom depends on how you choose to feel in the moment. This is why monks can feel free even in complete isolation, locked in forever, and they will still be in bliss, because it has to do with your state of being and state of mind. And we're not locked in some kind of a computer software, but the world at large is computational and enslaved by gravity, exactly. And then in that context, simulation just means a slice of reality. This is essentially equivalent to a parallel reality. So not like in the movie, actually the opposite of the movie. The real world, what is called in the movie the real world, is the computation world. And what is in the movie the prison, the Matrix, is what would be the equivalent to the subspace of ours that is the physical world. So it's literally the other way around. Then can you talk about why you think the code on the surface bands of the laser are not connected to the code inside the laser? They look like the same characters to me, different context but similar. So I can't know exactly what you're seeing. You might be seeing some layers that are the same on the surface and inside. One way to discern is if you move the laser, there's certain characters that are moving with the light, and then there's the ones that are inside the wall. Now, it's possible that it's just simply the projection from the light bringing some of the information from the code that is hitting the lens, and then it's projected on the wall, and that is the one that is moving with the light. And then the one that is bouncing back from whatever is inside the wall is the one that seems to be on a different point of reference. So I think it might actually be the most logical explanation, actually. Where was I on the molecule when I got the idea? I mean, the idea, it wasn't one idea. It was a search for many, many years, for almost 4 years total. And so it wasn't like a clean cut process. It was a very long process. How are you, Artica? And actually, no, most of the ideas that came about that were when I was not on the molecule, in fact. Appreciate you, Scott. Kaya saying, can I see the symbols on any surfaces? I saw them on the wall, but can I see them on a human body? Yes. You can see it on everything, basically. What's up, Danny? When you say the code is running too fast, you mean that the code you're seeing is scrolling. Does that mean you're seeing code be actively written? Because that's what it sounds like. I mean, the code is moving. I think it's an instantiation in the environment. It's not working like the code that you would be familiar with. It wouldn't be like on a screen, just kind of like static there, sitting, waiting for somebody, like a prompt. It's an executable. It's an executed code. So it's like executing itself all the time. And yeah, it's moving all the time. There's millions of characters. They're moving along different axes. It's a very complex structure. It's not that simple. I don't think any human can like catch enough of that to like write down in any sequence, because they're changing all the time. Are photons a particle or wave? Neither. It's binary. Well, yeah, quantum position, I guess. I know Earl. I like Earl too. Anyone photographic memory to look at the code? Well, first of all, again, this is I think a big misconception. People with actual photographic memory don't actually exist. There's a few of them. I think there's like maybe 5 on the entire planet. Like actual photographic memory, that basically it's a disorder. It basically doesn't exist. So you can't rely on that. There are some savants that can do this. That's for sure, but they can't communicate very well, and you can't really rely on so little individuals. It's simply not the way to go. Like, it's very clear to me that it's just not the way to go. We will need something much more that lends itself to a more democratic protocol, to more democratic protocols. You're going to need to figure out a theoretical framework that tells you exactly what the code is, why is it operating the way it does, and then you can start probing it in the same way you would with anything scientific. This is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people from all directions, from both the spiritual perspective and the scientific perspective, but it's what is going to need to be done. Having individuals going in there and like trying to capture, that's just not going to work. It's just not untenable. It's untenable. It's truly not feasible. Like, if there's too much. Yeah, I'm sure there are ways. One way that was suggested to make it clear was to use strobe, which will kind of freeze the frames. That's one way to do it.
Okay. So I've got some things to report.
All right, let's hear it.
Well, so now that I know that we're just looking for just any type of scrambling of the code, not disappearance of the code, there's many ways I've seen that going on through all these magnets I've been using. So right now I'm just setting up for one more test but in the meantime, I will say that I'm going to send you a picture. Have you ever observed projected a laser onto a surface that is that has multiple angles? So what I have is I have a piece of paper that I've got glued down to, or whatever, pasted down onto a magnet that has right angles. So when you, and it's the width of the band. So I mean the same dimensions of the band. So when projected in there, boy, does it create a bend, like a curve. You ever seen that before?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting looking. It's like a concave.
Wait. So can you describe it again? Is it, what part of the magnet is it?
So the surface of the magnet, I have a magnet where, like if you hold up yours, I can describe it to you, your horseshoe magnet real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so see the silver parts.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, in between those two silver parts, there's also a gray part,
Mm-hmm.
recessed a little bit, right?
You mean this, the red part?
Yeah, well, like on mine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I have paper that it form fits the silver and the recessed part, but it's not a curvature. It's just right angled. I've noticed that when the code is projected on there, it does curve it. It's like a perfect concave.
Interesting. No, I've never noticed that before.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know what's going on with that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and another thing I was thinking about was, so you know the 3D glasses, how they, when you're looking through that one, it's only one side of the lens that'll do it, but you can see the laser pulses, and in person there's such fine detail. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on. So I think with the 3D glasses, it's removing certain parts of the light spectrum, so you're able to see the laser. I believe that's how they work. Are you familiar with that?
with specifically with the laser, it might be removing every, so like it creates a diffraction, it creates a gradient even in the z-axis, like away from the laser, but it's not really removing any portions of the frequency because it is already a laser. It has one frequency, or do you mean something else?
No, I'm just wondering, like, so like we cannot see the laser beam until I hold that lens over my eye or a camera, and then it reveals the mandala pulses hovering in the air. So I'm just thinking about, like, okay, well, that allows us to see what's going on with the laser, and then when we're looking at the wall with the code, the laser's revealing the code. I'm just wondering if there's more ways to explore what could be subtracted or removed to get more of this code going.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I need to think what that would mean.
Yeah, I'll look into it some more. Just thought I'd bring it up.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing it up. Also, to your question, Nash, would it be possible to illustrate a single character from the code? You have them in the trailer. If you go to Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts on YouTube, check out the trailer. You'll see the thumbnail with the eye with the laser. Obviously, this is just an illustration. Do not ever project the laser into your eye. And there in the trailer, in the beginning, you have this piece of paper with codes on it, with language on it. Man. Dosage, then go to codeofreality.com, and you have the full protocol there that addresses this point. Oh, there you go. Nico's on it. Again, why do everybody want to project it on a mirror? Guys, do not project the laser into a mirror. You just get a laser in your eye. That's what a mirror does to a laser. It bounces it back into your eyes. Do not project the laser onto a mirror.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. Not the mirror part, of course not, but not blocking my eye from the side one night. Boy, did I get a rude awakening to a laser.
Wait, you using the 5 milliwatts one? I mean, I think you should be fine with that, but yeah, it's not pleasant.
I mean, I was doing a lot of experimenting.
Oh, so. yeah. If you look for a while. Yeah, guys, do not use mirrors this way. I honestly don't understand why people are insisting on this. Like, I'm sure there's some interesting experiments to be run with, like, arranging mirrors in a particular way and then bouncing it to different directions. But at no point should these mirrors, at no point should you be using one mirror, projecting the laser on it and expecting to see something. You're just going to see a laser going into your eye. Be careful. Prism won't work on a laser, but it still can be interesting to see if it does something to it, because it will create a different medium. So in that sense, it just as a different medium. So like it would refract the light, which will be interesting, but it won't change anything because it's already a laser. You can't really split a laser. And fog is not going to work because it's random scattering. There's the fact that you see the beams in the fog doesn't actually give you information about anything that the beam would be hitting in the air, because it's not. It's just enough particles go through the laser in a way that enough single photons from the light coming back to your eyes, you know there's a beam there. But in order to see something coherent, you need to bounce enough photons from one direction to literally go back to your eye and then capture what that is, because that's how you see things. But in the case of fog or smoke, most of it just scatters randomly, so you can't actually see anything. Now it's interesting because my fiance said that she one time saw some of the code in the air, like in the smoke. I don't. I'll be honest. I don't know what she's talking about. Like I don't know how that's possible. But I mean, I tend to trust what she's saying. So maybe there's something there.
I could almost hear my wife running down the hall right now to say the same thing. It just popped in my head. I don't know if you know, heard of this, but one of Leonardo da Vinci's final experiments, we don't know what he was working on at the end, but from what we do know, what he was working from a chateau above a village, or whatever it was, the townspeople were deathly afraid of it because they were saying it's the work of the devil. So I was speaking with
wait, what part of what he was doing?
Whatever he was doing, they said he's the work of the devil.
But what was it that he was doing?
Well, that's what we don't really we don't know. But I got a couple people I know that are into this guy, and they were saying that's very interesting because what he was researching at the end was optics, like large lenses and some sort of optical stuff, and they were hypothesizing that he could have been working out holograms, like some way to project from his location down into another area, a hologram of an image, which would definitely probably scare people. But
interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Good night, Kobai. Good night, Earl. Gligamesh said, or if the code is just like the Matrix, we can't rule out we are exactly in the Matrix, not being harvested for power, for something else. So I don't know if I have enough energy, Gilga. Right now, I'm slowly fading, and I don't have enough energy to open the subject. But yeah, you're definitely not a prisoner, and you're not being harvested for anything, or at least not in any malicious way like you imagine that to be. Yep, strobe will definitely slow it down. Exactly. Philosopher is saying, truly believe this is 100% true phenomenon, but I hate that you put some findings behind a paywall. It decreases your credibility. Nobody's putting any findings behind a paywall. In the Zoom calls, we just have a more personal interaction because more people are talking back and forth. But everything that we're talking about is everything we're talking about here. There's nothing that I'm saying in private meetings that I'm not saying here. So there's no information that is being held back from you, Velociraptor, I promise. Background sounds? I don't know. There's an AC working. Not sure if that's what you're hearing. I am listening to the telepathy tapes. My jury is still out on that. I'll finish listening to them and then I'll tell you what I think. But a lot of people seem to like really hype on that. Hopefully, it lives up to the expectation. I mean, I want it to be true for sure. No, not sick. I think I'm just tired today. Was my run was very long, and it kind of exhausted my body, I think. Irv, you're very funny. Okay, well, I think I think I'm at the end of my energy for today. Unfortunately, it just dropped on me. Um, no, the code doesn't change with the Surface. I would like Dan. Which Dan? I'm sure I would like Dan. Which Dan? Dan Lucas? It is Dan Lucas horizontally on a flat surface. It doesn't matter if it's horizontal or vertical, you will see it in the surface as long as you project the light and you inject the molecule. Console can heat a hot pocket in 30 seconds. The world isn't ready for that tech. That's hilarious. No, I love you all, guys. I'm just like today. I'm just tapped out. I had a very long day of conversations and interviews, and I also still have to edit for at least another. I think I have another hour of editing in me. After that, I'm gonna pass out. So I have to leave some room for that. The scrolling doesn't change; it seems to be the same, and it's along 3 different axes. But in any case, scared of sausage theory. People scared of the sausage theory behind the paywall. That's amazing. All right, guys. I'm gonna tap out for tonight, and I'll see you all tomorrow. If you want to follow me across platforms, it's Danny Goller on Instagram and TikTok. Hold on, Casey. I'll say goodnight to you before I go. It's Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram. It's Goller Danny on X. It's LaserX83 on Twitch, and Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts on YouTube. I've added a membership program on YouTube. Deeply appreciate all the members that already joined. And if you want to join, it will allow you early access to all the videos I'm releasing, as well as Zoom calls with me, weekly lives aside from the daily lives just for members. And I'm adding a lot of new materials that are for my private life that I'm working on, which is just a little fun thing. And I'm working on other things that will be adding as perks for all the members. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate all the people that are contributing. Again, Irv, you are a true angel, man. Like, I don't know how I would do any of this without you at this point when the operation kind of goes pretty crazy. Irv is helping me out in so many different ways, not just creating the laser, creating all these beautiful packages and awesome messages for people, but also behind the scenes working very hard on arranging the information for me in a way that is coherent. And he helps me with building structures that help me understand, what information comes from where, and helping me build the new website. I mean, man, You are a superhuman. I don't know how you do all this. So thank you so much for this. And again, thank you for the Discord team and all the people here that are contributing in all the different ways. Appreciate you all. Nico, you're amazing. Casey, like everybody's saying in the chats, you're the man, brother. Thank you so much for helping. Do you have anything to say before we jump off?
I'll be coming back through town after New Year's.
Okay.
So we'll stop by and say hi real quick.
I would love that.
Take care of you. Bye.
All right, guys. So all that being said, have a good night, everybody. Love you all. Peace and love. Ciao. See you guys.